alongside it should have confidence in his government.
Kinnock.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. The winner of the current leadership contest will be the fourth Conservative Prime Minister since 2016. The benches opposite really have turned government into a game of musical chairs, to the point where the reality is that the world's oldest political party is not really a credible or coherent organisation at all. It is a coalition of chaos that is led by a Prime Minister who embodies the vacuum of moral purpose at its heart. They say that a fish rots from its head, but let's not forget that every single one of the members opposite is complicit. They propped him up, they defended the indefensible. So the entire fish is rotten, Mr Deputy Speaker, which is why it actually makes no difference who wins this leadership contest, and why a general election and a fresh start with a Labour government is the only viable option for our country. Mr Deputy Speaker, we cannot in all good conscience allow this man, a man who puts our national security at risk by holding clandestine meetings with a former KGB officer, to carry on squatting in Downer Street over the summer.
That's right.
This zombie government, though, is set to limp on in parallel with this frankly embarrassing leadership contest, a contest that not even the candidates want to see played out in public. They're dodging scrutiny, and no wonder, because they're offering billions, hundreds of billions of pounds in unfunded tax cuts. Nothing for the millions of families who will face a choice between eating and heating this autumn. Not a word on boosting productivity or driving the modern manufacturing renaissance that our current country so desperately needs. And no mention whatsoever of the Conservative Party's backlog Britain, with the Passport Office in meltdown, A&E queues off the scale, courts mired in delays, and a broken asylum system costing the taxpayer £4.7 million a day. But backlog Britain's not simply the result of the government's failure to plan for the end of lockdowns, Mr Deputy Speaker. The multiple systems failures we're seeing now are the result of 12 years of Tory incompetence and indifference, because growth, investment, productivity have been stagnating since 2010, and our public services have been hollowed out, leaving our country profoundly lacking in the resilience that we needed to weather the COVID storm. Their failure to invest has impacted on our national finances, on pay packets for workers and our public services, and it's left our private sector vulnerable to major shocks such as the pandemic, the war and the Prime Minister's botched Brexit deal. We should be in no doubt that authoritarian states such as China and Russia have been waiting in the wings, ready to pounce and to exploit our overexposed and vulnerable assets and supply chains. So we have a plan to make, buy and sell more in Britain after 12 years of a stagnating Tory economy, low growth, years of broken promises. We need a fresh start, not just a change at the top.
Seat at 9:40, Marion Fellows.
Mr.